Somewhere in America right now, millions of people are paying monthly rent on a room they'll probably never visit again. Not a home, not an office, just a locked metal box sitting on the edge of a parking lot, filled with furniture from a previous apartment, holiday decorations from 15 years ago, and maybe a treadmill that's been collecting dust for longer than anyone wants to admit. And that's not some tiny side business. That's a massive industry. Self-storage in the United States brings in tens of billions of dollars every year. And once you start paying attention, it's everywhere. Out by the highway, behind the strip mall, next to the gas station, on the edge of town where the land is cheap and the buildings are plain, and nobody really notices them unless they need one. Most people drive past these places without thinking twice. But if you stop and ask what they actually represent, the whole thing starts to get weird pretty quickly. Because on paper, a storage unit is almost laughably simple. You rent a space, put your stuff inside, lock the door, and pay every month until you decide you need it back. The unit might be the size of a closet, or big enough to hold the contents of a small house. That's it. But for something that simple, it's become strangely huge. There are tens of thousands of self-storage facilities across the country. More than you'd expect. More than probably makes sense. These places have become such a normal part of the landscape that people barely notice them anymore. Which is exactly why they're such a good business. Storage companies don't need fancy lobbies. They don't need restaurants. They don't need huge staffs. They don't even need many customers to physically show up. Once somebody moves their stuff in, the facility just sits there and collects money. And that's the key. Storage is one of the most attractive kinds of real estate out there because it's so low maintenance. No kitchens, no bedrooms, no plumbing headaches. No tenants calling at 2 a.m. because their sink is leaking. Just concrete, metal doors, a gate, and a monthly payment that keeps showing up like clockwork. If you own enough of these places, you're basically renting out human procrastination. Okay, but here's the weird part. The real question isn't why storage companies like this business. The real question is why so many Americans need it in the first place. Because storage units don't really exist for valuables in the traditional sense. They exist for overflow, for things that no longer fit somewhere else. And that means the average American household has accumulated more stuff than it can comfortably hold. That happened gradually, not in one dramatic moment, not because everybody suddenly lost their minds and started buying nonsense. It happened one shopping trip at a time. Americans buy a ridiculous amount of stuff. Clothes, kitchen gadgets, sports equipment, seasonal decorations, hobby gear, furniture that was supposed to be temporary, boxes of things bought online because they were cheap, convenient, and would come in handy later. At first, that sounds reasonable. A few extra items here and there, a little bit of surplus, nothing crazy. But stuff has a way of multiplying. A closet fills up, then the garage fills up, then the guest bedroom becomes the storage room. Then the basement starts looking like a warehouse. And suddenly, the solution isn't to own less. The solution is to rent another room somewhere else and keep paying for it. And the wild part is that American homes actually got bigger over the same period. You'd think that would have solved the problem. It didn't. Homes in the United States expanded dramatically over the last several decades, with more bedrooms, bigger kitchens, larger garages, and all kinds of built-in storage. But the demand for storage units didn't go down, it went up. That tells you everything you need to know.
That's all your house is? It's a place to keep your stuff while you go out and get more stuff. Now, sometimes you've got to move. You got to get a bigger house. Why? Too much stuff.
More space at home didn't mean less accumulation. It just meant people had more room to accumulate before they ran out of space. Bigger houses didn't fix the problem, they just delayed it. That's why the storage unit down the road is always waiting. And once you understand that, the next part makes sense too. A lot of what ends up in storage isn't expensive. It's not some incredible collection of rare antiques. It's usually the opposite. Old furniture, boxes of books, clothes from a previous stage of life, holiday decorations, a baby crib somebody can't bear to throw away yet, stuff from a parent who passed away, a pile of things that aren't worthless exactly, but not valuable enough to justify paying monthly rent for them forever. And that's really what makes this industry so durable. From a business perspective, this is almost the ideal customer. Not someone who shows up every day, not someone who constantly needs attention, just someone who keeps paying, month after month, year after year. Once the unit is rented, there's often very little left to do. The boxes sit there, the lock stays on the door, and the rent keeps arriving. In many cases, people are not paying because they actively use the space. They're paying because they haven't made a decision yet. And that turns out to be a surprisingly powerful business model. Most companies have to convince customers to keep coming back. Storage companies often don't. Once everything is inside and the door rolls shut, inertia does a lot of the work. The easiest decision is usually to keep paying for one more month, and then another, and another. Which helps explain how such a simple business became such a massive one. In the end, the industry is not built around valuable objects. It's built around something much more common. People get busy, people get distracted, and letting go is often harder than it looks. And honestly, that's understandable. Human beings aren't great at throwing away things that used to matter. The problem is that later never really comes. The unit stays full. The bill keeps coming. And the stuff just sits there under a metal roll-up door, waiting for a decision that never happens. That's where the business gets even stranger. Because when people stop paying, the contents of the unit don't just vanish. In many cases, they become part of a storage auction. That's when the operator takes back the unit and sells off the contents, often to recover a few months of missed payments. It's one of the weirdest parts of the industry. One person's forgotten box of old clothes is another person's chance to find a decent dresser, a vintage lamp, or maybe something worth a lot more than it looked like under a layer of dust. That whole auction world exists because storage units often outlive the people who rent them. People move, people forget, people die. The unit keeps sitting there. And that's really what makes this industry so durable. It's not just that the buildings are cheap to operate. It's that the customer is usually emotionally attached to the problem. They're not paying for a service they love, they're paying to avoid a choice they don't want to make yet. So what is self-storage really? It's not just a real estate story, nor is it simply a logistics story. Instead, it's a very visible sign of what happens when a country accumulates more than it knows how to handle. The entire industry functions as an overflow valve for a culture that keeps buying, keeps keeping, and keeps postponing the moment when it has to decide what actually matters. People move, families grow. A storage unit makes all of that easier. At the same time, it can make certain decisions easier to avoid. Storage units aren't the story. They're the symptom. What really matters is that America has accumulated so much stuff that an entire industry was built to hold the things people couldn't quite bring themselves to leave behind. On the surface, all you see are rows of metal doors, security gates, and concrete buildings. Look a little closer, and something else appears. A business built around human behavior. And the bill, like the boxes, keeps stacking up.
Things you own end up owning you.